You lie in the wet grass.
Your vision slowly returns.
You see a starry night above you.
Hey, where is your head?
What?
You look
You-
up and you see the vision of this younger woman. You recognize her, and she looks about 17. Half long, dark chocolate hair, these greenish eyes, and a rather strong jaw for such a young girl, and this studious student's outfit of a cream khaki, which you know to be that of the Pale Academy because of its emblem that she wears on the top of a pearloid gemstone.
And you're looking out on a gate that surrounds the Pale Academy. And you and another person are lying outside of the gate in the wet grass, looking at the starry sky.
I still can't believe that I actually got you to come along. Maru, the star child. Actually, where is your mind? You seem to be off.
It's quite a warm day and it smells beautifully in this garden. She looks warmly at you.
I'm not sure.
Have you been doing too much studying?
And she stretches out her arms.
I might actually just skip Bosque's class tomorrow.
You recognize this face as quite familiar, though it has been a long time since you last saw her face. This is Patricia, one of your oldest friends from your time as a student in the Pale Academy. As you look at your hands, they're less weathered than they are now. You get the feeling that you're close to where you were as you were 17, 18 years old perhaps.
Patricia rolls on her belly and starts fiddling with the grass with her fingers.
What do you have to do tomorrow?
Studying? Revisions? Do I still need to make a schedule?
I don't know how you do it, Maru. How do you get all these good grades?
And she takes from her pocket, as she rolls up a small patch of tobacco into a paper sleeve.
You look around, you see a lot of these other students lying, but a lot further away in this large garden of the Pale Academy. This beautiful university in Orzon.
No, you know that stuff's bad for you, right?
Okay, Maru, you really need to chill
No,
out.
you need your focus.
You remember that she was not necessarily hot-headed, but she was opinionated about a lot of things. She was rather opinionated about the Empire back then, even though Doran had been annexed for quite a while. She'd grown up in it. She'd been a little bit rebellious and always rather fond of you.
Maru, I don't get why you're not more mad about these new rules at school. I mean, like, a curfew? What do they think we are, 12?
I just wanna do what I do. If that means I have to be in bed in time, I don't care. I just want to pass.
Okay, listen, I am not against rules per se. But I heavily question the people making the rules right now. I mean, what do you think will happen to the school after the war breaks out?
And then it hits you once more that time with Patricia in the grass, back then at the Pale Academy. When you were younger, you'd grown up in the Cold War, and you'd never known anything else back then. The constant looming threat of war between Montclair and the Empire. And especially now, do you remember this moment suddenly?
I don't want to jinx anything, but if the war would break out, what would you do? Would you stay here with me?
I don't know. I mean, look at me. I'm blue. I might as well paint a target on my face.
I don't know. blue is my favorite color.
Thanks.
You know you could do anything you wanted. You know that? I've seen what you can do. You're actually the first person with magic I ever saw.
Really?
You're also the only magic student that's currently in your year on the entire Pell Academy.
As she walks with her fingers through the grass, almost as if it was like a tiny man walking around. She plucks at the grass.
You know, I am glad I punched Edward in the face. After what he said to you. These Ratio boys. And their pathetic little boys club. Ugh.
Well, it's not like I can prove anything. There's been some notes,
Notes?
some of my books have gone missing, some of my... Yeah, there's been some stuff going on, but...
Why didn't you tell me this?
Because you would go out and... One day you're gonna fight someone and you're not gonna be able to just break their nose and solve things.
Well, I haven't met that person yet. And for you, I'd go a long way before that happens.
You see her look at you rather specifically, but you're unable to tell it what it is. Like she's trying to tell you something.
What have you been smoking? What's in that?
It's... No,
She looks ever so slightly dejected.
What?
No. I mean, you're strong by yourself, but... I just like it if you... needed me every once in a while.
And her fingers that were walking through the grass sort of thoughtlessly now find a bit of purchase on the skin of your right arm as you lie on your back looking at the sky.
Okay, let's just cut the bullshit. I know that I am often, very often, quite loud, but...
As her fingers leave her arm.
Would you... Oh, shit. Would you maybe like me to be around differently than I am now?
As the silence falls, it becomes more heavy and awkward as first Patricia was a bit flirty, but now you see doubt in her eyes.
I don't know. I'm having a hard time thinking of... You know, what will happen after, you know, tomorrow in general, and...
As you watch to the wall of the Pale Academy on your right, far along, you see a new poster being stretched up there, which says, "Watch out for signs of cobalt plague." And you remember suddenly that this moment happened only a short while after the plague broke out on the Fine Line.
Maru, I really am not kidding about this. We could be dead in a week. I'm really not trusting the situation with...
I can't...
From the path that leads through the trees, back to the Pale Academy, emerge 5 boys.
One in the front you recognize. He has a short, blonde updo, and you recognize him as Edward, which is one of the more posh students of the Pale Academy. His mother is apparently Alberian, he keeps telling everyone, as he looks towards you and says, "Look who's there, witch and her familiar."
Now that they come closer through the darkness, it is quite at night during this scene. Patricia opens her eyes a little bit in shock as they are carrying wooden paddles. Often used to play Alberian ball sports, but you suspect their purpose to be different now.
What? We're just going to practice.
I'll get up, just in case, from the grass.
Maru, stand back. I don't know what you think you're doing, Edward, but cut it out. Whatever that dumb skull of you thinks, you're not getting away what you're trying to do.
He just looks towards the rest of the boys and says, "Ooh, you're the dumb one for not realizing that witches are ruining this institution, Patrizia. Who says she hasn't charmed the teacher, huh? It's a spell that lets her cheat on tests, threaten someone with a fireball. What do you think?"
Don't waste your breath, Edward. Patricia, come on, let's go. We
Oh,
don't need
shut
this.
up. You're a danger to everything this country stands for. Honesty, valiance.
Maru has nothing to do with it that you can't get a passing grade unless your father pays for it, Edward.
It's a waste of time and effort, Patricia. They're not gonna change your mind. Let's just go inside and study.
I'm actually quite glad that you finally speak your mind, Patrizia. At least now we know what we have on each other. And they draw closer, whacking the paddles against their hands.
I'm gonna stand in front of Patricia.
Maru, what are you doing?
Back off, Edward.
Or else you got to shoot the fireball at me.
I don't need a fireball to get rid of you.
So as your eyes glow slightly, you see him wince clearly, and then looks at the rest of the boys, and he snaps his fingers, and the rest, everyone except Edward, starts walking towards you and Patrizia. You really done it now?
You are even more low than I thought, Edward.
She's a witch. Feel no common sense more, Patrizia? You come from a good family.
Edward, this is not funny. Go away
You
now.
don't tell me what to do. And as you see them coming closer, the boys start to emit this reddish crimson dust from all their steps.
I'm standing in front of Patricia.
Edward's standing behind the boys.
Oh.
So there's 4 boys coming at you, and Edward's standing behind them.
Whoever looks the most punchable to me, I will punch in the face.
So as you take 2 steps forward, I want you to make an attack roll with strength.
With strength, oh. But it's a 4, so you know it's...
So as you try and lunge at one of the boys, he just ducks out of the way. As he grabs you, he makes a contested athletics check. Make an athletics check for me. 2 boys hold you, and they are restraining you as Edward walks toward Patricia.
I'm gonna cast Vicious Mockery on Edward, because it's only verbal, so I can cast it even though I'm restrained.
As your voice resounds over the entire class, you are illuminated by the sound and your eyes start to glow a bluish hue as your voice reaches them, and you see Edward. Witch! As he comes up, you see that he has a bloody nose that's leaking onto his lips.
Listen to me very carefully, you little punk. Get away from my friend, or there will not be enough gods in the pantheon to protect you from my wrath.
You see some of the boys kind of scurry to Edward again, and he kind of swats their hand away as he gets up. And you see, yeah, they let you go. As Edward just looks at you, points a finger in your face, and says, "Not too long from now, things gonna change. A lot. You're not going to be safe. I'll look forward to that. And I'm so going to enjoy the moment."
As the boys walk back on the path from which they came,
you see that on the back of their student tunics, they have a small embroidery of their boys' club, which you recognize as Ratio, a large R of the boys' club of the Pale Academy, with that of a golden sun behind it.
Maybe you don't need me, but I'll be there. You'll see.
and you see from the back 2 coffins appear from the ground.
As Patrizia just rolls back in the grass, looking up at the sky. longingly at something.
I'll walk away.
You
Towards
go
the
up
coffins.
towards the two coffins. You see that they say, a dark night, once more. And then a new one that says, the art of artifice. They're dark wooden coffins with only metal hinges, and the rest seems typical traditional Dornese making. They have it carved rudishly in the front. It's not a nice inscription, it's a carving.
I'll go for the Dark Knight. Pop it open.
You pop open the lid of the coffin and you see the identical white silk lining in the inside of the coffin. And as you go lay down, you feel the smooth silk on your arm hairs, as the little light that there was is now snuffed out. Ooh.
Hello everyone, we're taking a small intermission and I just wanted to let you all know that these episodes are made possible by our patrons over at patreon.com/DNDQNL, all letters DNDQNL. We really couldn't make this type of content if it weren't for those people backing us every month over at Patreon. Right now, everyone backing us on Patreon is getting shoutouts by their favorite characters from our cast, as well as receiving episodes early. So these podcasts that you're listening to now have already been available to Patreon users for a while now. Finally, our patrons always get a pre-sale so that they can be the first to get tickets for our new live shows whenever there's one available again. This way, they'll make sure they have a ticket because they always sell out so fast. So if you want to support the channel or help us further, or if you even just like the content that we're putting out in this way, please consider supporting us on Patreon because it really, really makes a world of difference. And to those already backing us on Patreon, thank you so much. You're amazing.
You open your eyes. It's a bit of a moldy smell almost, and you feel a small draft on your skin.
Slowly the light enters your periphery of your vision again. You start to recognize you're in a very different space once more.
You are in a small hut, almost it seems. Strips of cloth hang through the room, from wall to ceiling to wall. And the walls are covered in sort of self-made symbols from branches and string. And on the table, you see a very small table in front of a sort of ramshackle window, you see pieces of old dry bread lying and a few crumbs. But no image of more food or rations. 2 mattresses and a makeshift small bed of folded up cloth lies on the floor. And from the outside, you hear the wailing of a woman.
And I'm inside.
You're inside this hut, but the front door is actually open, and you can see a little bit outside, and it's almost it's a luminous night, but it's almost in a pitch black forest.
Can I stealth towards the entranceway and just kind of have a little...
Roll stealth check for me.
That's a 7.
You hear a male voice.
Mahalla, please.
I'll look through the window.
Okay. You see a woman huddled in the grass with a man standing next to her, and the moonlight is hitting them. The woman holds a small bundle and is inconsolable. You see that these figures, they sprout horns from their forehead, and their skin is a bluish hue.
No way. I/Maru are just stunned.
Yeah, the woman is inconsolable and she just keeps crying and crying as you see the man keep repeating the name, Mahalla, please, we have to.
What language are they speaking?
You recognize this, well, from the appearance of the figures, you can make out that this is the speak of the Modri.
And dialect of the old Dornese tongue. A cart starts to pass by from the distance,
Its lantern illuminates a spot on the road in front of it as it travels. And as it almost passes the couple, the man quickly runs in front of the cars, and the horses neigh and almost stagger as the cart comes to a stop.
Oh, I'm armed. Trying to rob me would be a grave mistake, and honestly, I don't have anything. Please don't rob me, please.
Can I use this consternation to sneak out of the house? Because I don't want to be breaking and entering.
Yeah, so you sneak out of the house and you walk through the open door. On the right there are a few trees. If you would watch if you want to watch the scene more discreetly, you could hide there. You can also approach the scene if you want to.
I'm an honest Alberian merchant. I'm telling you, I don't have anything much with me.
No. Please, you misunderstand. My name is Mallowen. This is my wife, Mahala.
He looks over at the merchant and says,
We need you to take our daughter with you.
The merchant on the cart looks down and says,
What?
Babe, I'm sorry, I don't have time to raise a child, and why am I even saying this? This is ridiculous. I have to be off. Ta-ta! The mother then pipes up and says, Please, sir, give her to a good family then. We can't. We have some coin, please. We spared up 50 gold pieces.
The baby starts to squirm a little bit in the bundle that she's holding. Would you like to do something?
Would this ring any bells for Maru in character?
It is strangely familiar, though. The scene, as haunting as it is, seems to come from the deepest of your memories. Almost like you're listening through a veil the whole time. And as you look at the child, make me a perception check. Or an insight check, I mean.
Oh, yeah. 10.
As you look at the baby's face, it has horns and blue skin. And it's rather, familiar.
You see the man and the woman now look towards you.
What's going on here?
He definitely sees that you are Modri, but you are so fancily dressed. Remember, you have a robe with sort of golden particles on the bottom, almost dressed like a peacock.
And the rest of them, they're wearing the poorest commoner's clothes.
Aww.
It's in the middle of the woods, and...
Are you Modri?
The man stands up and looks at you, and he now almost pushes you a little bit back from this intimate scene. He says,
Who are you? And why are you standing here?
I'm just a little lost, I think.
Do you need to find your way back to the village?
No. I just want to go home.
The woman who's holding the child then looks towards you and says, I am sorry for this scene. It's... You must be from the big city. Please, any of you can... I just want what's good for my child, and it's not here. You look at the child, and a vague sense of fear comes over you. A fear of being left alone, a fear of abandonment, and you cannot get closer to the child.
No. Quite sure I'm a really bad... I'd be a really bad parent.
At that moment, the merchant has finished counting the coins in the bag, closes the pocket, and then suddenly twists his mood and says, Alright, I have found a spot in my heart for all of you. I will make sure that this child finds a good home.
Can I do an insight check to see if he's not...
Give me an insight check.
Got
It is very dark on this foresty path, and only the small torchlight from beyond the house reveals their faces ever so slightly. It is only because they are Modri that you recognize them instantly, but this merchant not yet. What do you roll?
5.
5? You do not know if he's speaking the truth. As you look closer to his face, as he looks towards the Modri parents, and his face is ever so slightly illuminated by this tiny bit of torchlight, you do recognize him. It is Valeric. a merchant that you had not long ago contacted, an old friend of yours, someone you'd known all your life.
What do you want to do, looking at this scene?
I just want to look at my mom and my dad. And try not to cry.
I'm sorry.
I just want to kind of like imprint their faces in my
You see
heart
the father,
and soul.
he has a strong straight jaw and a very poignant chin, very poignant features in the rest of his face, and very calm, light blue, icy eyes, where normally you'd think they'd be a little bit scary on a person, perhaps they were soothing and calm on his features. The mother has the most beautiful face that you'd ever seen, at least. As she wears a hood over it, trying to cover up her horns, it seems. Her face is that of a light blue, more azure, light azure color in comparison to your own and that of the father. And she almost looks like a, how'd you say, a demigoddess in the way she stands here in the middle of this disheveled road.
Can I try and put my hand on her shoulder?
She slowly turns towards you, cradling the baby, ever so close to her chest. And then she looks at it once more, gives it a kiss on the forehead, sighs very deeply, and then delivers the child onto Valeric, the Alberian merchant.
And the woman, you see that as she hands over the baby, she breaks down again into crying, and as she does, the baby seems to be waking in the bundle and joins her in crying.
Wait. What's your name?
Maru.
The mother looks up, almost in surprise, and then says, Menuhin, that is a beautiful name. That is what she should be called.
As you see Falric look over and nod at the parents, the baby's crying intensifies. Make a perception check for me.
A 3.
Okay, you catch it pretty late, but the crying intensifies, which is normal for a normal baby, but it reaches alarming levels at this point, almost magical levels, as you catch this quite late, but black liquid is leaking from the eyes of the baby, and it's leaking down its body, and it's almost creating a puddle underneath
Can I
the
pick up
guard.
the baby?
As you try and touch the baby, the woman is in distress, and she tries to block you as you're trying to grab the baby from the cart.
She's crying.
Liquid is now spouting out of the eyes, and it is creating, it's almost like a water level is rising as the baby is crying, and the cries are resounding through the entire forest. No. Let her go. Let her go.
It's gonna be okay, Maru.
The crawling woman is now submerged under the black water level, and as the crying continues, you float up singly as the water level now submerges the cart and goes up, and you look around and you are in a black sea of nothingness. And as you rise, even the treetops are not visible anymore, and you float on a perfect mirror where the moonlight is reflected, while the crying continues, yet muffled.
Does it come from underneath me, the crying, or from...
It seems so.
I'm gonna... and dive down.
As you submerge yourself, your face plunges into the dark nothingness. This liquid engulfs you entirely, and you try and open your eyes and you don't see anything yet. And your breathing is halted because you're underwater, and as you're swimming, you dive deeper and deeper. Make a Constitution saving throw for me. Make a perception check.
Constitution is a 10. That's another 8. Perception. That's a 9.
Okay. You feel your breath growing short, but the wailing is definitely coming from a direction, and you, in the distance, see a bundle of blue light, but very faint.
I'm gonna try and make my way to it.
Okay, and as you start flailing your limbs, and you're swimming towards it, it's almost endless as you're running out of breath, but you see on the bottom, almost as if a pearl in a shell, you see the baby now unbound from its bundles, lying in the sand. And its wails are almost beautiful as they resound through the water. You are now maybe 5 feet distance from it.
I'm gonna do a last push and close that distance. Just keep swimming.
You push yourself towards the baby, and your vision starts to fade as you're running out of breath. And what do you want to do? As you're standing next to the baby, you're sort of floating above it in the dark water.
Grab the baby and protect
As you
the
grab
baby.
the baby, it's almost as if a plug from a sink, and the water starts spiraling, and you are the baby are being dragged away. I want you to make an athletics check, as you are now in a whirlpool of water being siphoned down a hole.
Natural 1.
Oh no.
I'm not made for adventuring on my own.
You are being dragged by this current, and you get 4 damage as you're being slammed towards the surface, but you're holding the baby close in your arms. As you're lying with a crying baby in your arms, still half attached to it, the bundle in which is what's wrapped. And there's nobody on the road, just you and the babe.
Do I speak the dialect?
Yes. You've learned it during your time at the Pale Academy. Under the Red Bosk.
This is so weird. I'm gonna wrap the baby in the bundle as good as I can.
One coffin reads,
The Art of Artifice. And the other one reads, The Resistance.
Is the baby still crying?
as you're holding it and you stand up, it soothes a little bit, and you feel a small hand reaching out for the necklace that you're wearing, and it's tugging it a little bit. And
as you look it in the eyes now for the first time, truly, you can see its pinkish purple eyes set across the light blue azure skin. Two eyes which you see almost every day.
Oh my god. I'm gonna sing a little lullaby in Modri for the baby.
And as Maru, a amazing singer, starts to sing this soothing, beautiful lullaby, the child just looks at you and then curls up closer in your arms.
of the coffins standing behind you now open as they reveal the white silk contents inside.
Once more, there is the art of artifice and the resistance.
Can I not just sit here forever and hold baby me and just, you know?
As you wait for a moment, you hear a small voice echo, and quite familiar. As you look back, you see there standing Edith once more. As he says to you, "You'll have to choose sometime, girl, lest the anomalies find you again. I know it's hard, and I'm so sorry. that you have to endure the mnemonic horrors of this place twice in such a short time frame. The witch lock of your friend must by itself have been traumatic enough. There's no other way to pass through this place. There is only forward. It's of your design, so you can master it.
I'll take Maru, clutch her close, make my way to the 2 coffins. Okay. You got this, Maru. And I'll go into the Art of Artifice.
Hey babes! Before you continue watching, don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out our D&Drag Patreon, where you can help us develop this crazy show further.